Locked On Pirates podcast. It is your host who does the most, Ethan Smith, coming at you live here on Thursday, November 10th. The Pittsburgh Pirates have kicked off the 2022 offseason with a bang as free agency opened at 5 o'clock. They acquired Ji-Man Choi from the Tampa Bay Rays for a minor league pitcher. They also made a move yesterday to claim an outfielder from the Colorado Rockies and Ryan Vilade off of waivers. So we'll talk about that a little bit, as well as the corresponding moves that got the Pirates 40-man roster down to 40 men. We're all over the place here as free agency has begun for the 2022-2023 offseason. And are the Pirates done? Maybe this is just the move that they needed to make to keep the ball rolling. We'll go ahead and do that. By the way, you guys, of course, will be right over here. If you are here on the live show on YouTube or Twitter, make sure you comment. I'm going to be answering any of your questions here on the Locked On Pirates podcast today. Today's episode is also brought to you by Simply Safe. We will have more about them later, but hit that music because it's time for Locked On Pirates.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the live 2022 free agency live show here on the Locked On Pirates podcast. I am, of course, your host who does the most, Ethan Smith. You can see my wonderful face here on YouTube and Twitter. This will also be up on audio as soon as we are done. So if you need to hear the audio or want to go back to something that I bring up, make sure you do that on Spotify, Odyssey, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Also, the Pirates moves will be on the bottom of the screen. You can see it right there. So anything that we're talking about, if you do want to go back to it, it will be scrolling across the screen right now to kind of get into it and see what the Pirates are getting into. But we're also going to share our screen here because we have some very, very big stuff to talk about. Of course, I have to start here with the move to get Ji-Man Choi from the Tampa Bay Rays. I did not expect this. I'm just going to go ahead outright and say that. He was not a guy that I had on the Pirates' radar whatsoever, but we're going to go ahead and go to their live tweet about this as well. Again, thank you guys for all tuning in. I see all of you guys popping in here, having a great time as we're hitting tweets and replies here to try to get that tweet pulled up for you guys. And we will find it, and there it is right there. And you can see all of the moves that we're actually going to be talking about here in just a moment, so I'll leave it right there. But the Pittsburgh Pirates, of course, have traded for Ji-Man Choi. I'm actually going to leave. It will not be that much bigger, so I don't know if I also just went out there, but if you cannot read it, the Pirates have acquired first baseman Ji-Man Choi from the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for minor league pitcher Jack Hartman. They have also reinstated Kanan Smith-Njigba, Colin Holderman, Yuri De Los Santos, Blake Cederland, and Max Kranick from the 60-day injured list. In addition, Peter Solomon, Bo Sulser, Jason DeLay, Blake Cederland, Eric Stout, and Zach Collins have been removed from the 40-man roster, cleared waivers, and are outrighted to AAA Indianapolis. Eric Stout and Zach Collins have now become free agents. Thoughts on the Pirates potentially signing Will Myers from Pirates Rants? Honestly, I was going to record an episode for my free agency predictions this morning, but I had to go into work a little bit early this morning. We do have a tropical storm in Savannah, so I was making sure everything was taken care of there. Will Myers is the kind of guy I wouldn't mind the Pirates pursuing as an outfield option. Now, I have said in terms of even signing any outfielders that the Pirates do have a very big plethora of options at that position right now that they still need to get looks on, like Kanan Smith-Njigba, like Cal Mitchell, like a lot of these other guys that the Pirates still need to get looks on. But Will Myers is that kind of guy that I wouldn't mind the Pirates going after. It's really just now that you're at 40 guys on the 40-man roster, what do you really decide to do? Do you want to sign these guys? Do you want to take somebody off of the 40-man? Do you want to not protect somebody from the Rule 5 draft to go get Will Myers? Is he worth that risk? That's where I really feel about it. He probably will end up being in the financial range of what the Pirates could be looking to do and add from this point. Now, again, I did not expect the first base move this quickly. I really didn't. I didn't expect it to be Ji-Man Choi whatsoever. I did say, though, and I know this is a rash thing to say, I did say that the Pirates were going to probably be a little bit busier in this free agency period in this offseason than we are accustomed to the last couple of years. They started off right away. If you remember last year, it took them a little bit, even after the fact of the lockout, to even really get things going. It took them a second to get Jose Quintana. It took them a second to re-sign Yoshi Tsutsugo. They took absolutely no time here with the Ji-Man Choi move. But I would not mind, Pirates Rants, I would not mind a Will Myers, Jack Sawinski, and Brian Reynolds outfield going into 2022. It's something that I would actually thoroughly enjoy. It's something that I think would be absolutely awesome for them. And also, thank you for everybody who has tuned into this live show so far. Realistically, to talk about Ji-Man Choi a little bit more. Also, sorry, I am still a little bit under the weather. So bear with me on the little coughs and stuff. I'll try to pull the mic away like this a little bit if I feel it coming on. Ji-Man Choi, I think the biggest move here with him, and I'll even pull up my tweet about it here that you guys can go check out, is he's a competent first baseman. And we all know throughout the entire year, I was complaining about their stuff, about the position all in general. I was complaining about it pretty much the entire year because of Yoshi Tsutsugo. Michael Chavis was an okay option there, but not exactly the option that the Pirates were looking for. And it really does suck because for the Pittsburgh Pirates, you remember they had Josh Bell. That was a solidified spot before he was traded to Washington. Then they have Colin Moran, who was not as solidified, but he was still okay for what he brought to your team. Since then, there hasn't been much there. And I think this is the kind of move for the Pittsburgh Pirates that solidifies this position at least for now. And as you see on the tweet that I said, at best, Ji-Man Choi brings plus power and hits 15 to 20 home runs in 2023. At worst, he's a stopgap for Matt Gorski and Malcolm Nunez at first base. I love the move. And that's where I really like this move because, again, it's one of those moves where the Pirates don't have to worry about too much because he either, again, is a stopgap option for the Pittsburgh Pirates for when Malcolm Nunez, Matt Gorski, or Mason Martin is ready to come up, or he is a guy that hits you 15 to 20 home runs at the position, solidifies the position for you in 2023, and maybe you have a pretty good year in that sense. And I mean, I did see some thoughts on this move all the way through. Jack Hartman, by the way, not too much of a guy that you're really looking forward to. I'll also pull this up because this is what we'll be getting into next. Excuse me. But I like this move. For everybody listening, what are your thoughts on the move? I want to hear some thoughts on the Ji-Man Choi move, and I will read those here in just a moment. But I want to let you guys know that today's episode, of course, is brought to you by the wonderful people over at Simply Safe. Did you know that over the holidays, property crimes like burglaries and package theft strike nationally? That's why our friends at Simply Safe Home Security are offering 50% off of their award-winning security system so that more families can feel safe and secure this holiday season. Order your Simply Safe system for half off today and enjoy advanced security and greater peace of mind this holiday season. Here's why I love it. You know, Simply Safe, my parents had Simply Safe to keep the house safe when I was in high school. I have Simply Safe now in my little humble abode studio apartment because I live right in downtown Savannah. So I just want to be safe. And here's why I use it. Simply Safe was named the best home security system of 2022 by U.S. News and World Report a third year in a row. In an emergency, 24/7 professional monitoring agents use Fast Protect technology exclusively from Simply Safe to capture critical evidence and verify the threat is real so you can get priority police response. Simply Safe is whole home security with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door, HD security cameras for inside and out, and smarter ways to detect motion that alert you only when a threat is real, and even hazard sensors that detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. 24/7 professional monitoring service costs less than $1 per day, less than half the price of ADT's traditional professionally installed system. And with the top rated Simply Safe app, stay in complete control of your system anytime, anywhere. You can arm or disarm, unlock for a guest, access your cameras, or adjust system settings. Don't miss your chance to save big on the only security system I recommend. Get 50% off any new Simply Safe system at simplysafe.com/lockedonmlb. This is their biggest discount of the year, so don't wait. That's Simply Safe. SIMPLISAFE.com/lockedonmlb. There's no safe like Simply Safe. So, everybody, of course, with this move came other moves that I mentioned earlier. Peter Solomon, Bo Sulser, Jason DeLay, Blake Cederland, Eric Stout, and Zach Collins have been removed from the 40-man roster. They all cleared waivers and were outrighted to AAA Indianapolis, making Eric Stout and Zach Collins free agents. Also yesterday, lots of stuff going on for the Pittsburgh Pirates here. Ryan Velade, a young outfielder, the number 22 overall prospect in the Colorado Rockies system, is now in the Pittsburgh Pirates system as he was claimed off of waivers yesterday. He does seem like kind of a boom or bust option. He could, I don't want to call him a boom or bust option, but it's a safe option for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He could potentially be a backup outfielder for this team. He's somebody that I think the Pirates could be taking a look at in terms of his age and the fact that he is still a very young player. And I do like this from Jason Mackey. He did bring this up about Ryan Velade. The Rockies' first selection in the 2017 draft was a high school product from Oklahoma who was taken in the second round. Of course, throughout his professional career, he's always shown an innate knack for contact. He rarely strikes out with a career 17.6% K rate to show for it entering the 2022 season, and he's not afraid to work counts and draw walks. Initially an infielder, Velade made the move to the outfield in 2020 and played there almost exclusively a year ago with a little first base mixed in. He's likely a left fielder when all said and done, with the chance for the power to come in his age 23 season to fit the profile well. I did not mind this move whatsoever, but I did want to give you guys some intel from Lindsey Crosby, who said he could quote me on this, and I'll also bring up the tweet that he said as well. Lindsey Crosby, of course, the host of Locked On MLB Prospects. He said he's a below average defender that is stuck in the corners but can play infield and outfield. Great contact ability, but doesn't seem to be able to hit for power despite decent raw power and a body that's 6'2", 230. He walks almost as much as he strikes out, and those percentages are both down in the teens. Will line drive you to death. He also tweeted about this, saying that he was a 2017 second rounder with average at best defense in the infield and outfield corners, but good contact ability. Doesn't hit many home runs, but will line drive you to death. Felt like a good change of scenery guy and is an easy take by the Pirates. So it really, at this point for the Pirates, feels like, again, that they're going to be a very active team in free agency, which is something they need to do. They need to go out and trade for starting pitching. They got the first baseman. They get another outfielder. Now I want to see the pitching. And, of course, Sports Illustrated, I tweeted about it earlier, brought up the idea of Sean Manaea for the Pittsburgh Pirates, which I was really, really fond of. And Jason Mackey also tweeted about Ji-Man Choi, saying he's played 486 major league games over seven seasons for the Angels, Yankees, Brewers, and Rays. He's a 239 hitter with a 773 OPS and 61 career home runs. So you kind of already know what you're getting with Ji-Man Choi, who is 31 years old. He's always been one of my favorite players, by the way. But you look at the moves that the Pirates have made so far. No brainers on who they put on the 40-man roster. No brainer getting Ji-Man Choi for the price that you got him at, which was just Jack Hartman. Jack Hartman, not a guy that was on a lot of radars for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, of course, if we're going to go back to a trade that happened in 2019 or 2018, whatever year it was, well, you know, he'll turn into the next ace in the hole for the Tampa Bay Rays. But for what is basically going on here, they've already shored up first base, at least for now, with Ji-Man Choi. They add another outfielder in Ryan Velade. The 40-man roster is set. Are the Pirates done? No. You saw Pirates Rants ask earlier about the potential of signing a guy like Will Myers. I would not leave that out of the picture. But starting pitching and relief pitching has to be at the forefront now. Excuse me, guys. I'm so sorry. Damn. Excuse me. Didn't expect to be coughing up a lung today. Ooh, excuse me, guys. going to drink some water. Got me hyped up. Got me so hyped up that I'm coughing again. But I think starting pitching and relief pitching definitely has to be at the forefront for this team now. I mean, you're looking at a rotation that does feature Mitch Keller, features Rowanzi Contreras, features JT Brubaker, probably in some form or fashion going to feature Luis Ortiz and Michael Burrows, but are those guys going to be ready for a full 2023 season? I don't think so. So I do think that's where the Pirates need to start getting into the pitcher market at some point. Now, I'm not expecting them to go out and get Jamison Tyone or Jacob deGrom or anybody like that, but Sean Manaea kind of fits the bill for me as a guy that the Pirates should definitely take a look at. And I'm going to scroll down here again on this wonderful Twitter feed. If you're not following me on Twitter, which this is also live on Twitter at this current moment, you should do that. It's a wonderful follow. I'm always talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates, but we're going to pull this picture up about Sean Manaea real quick. This was the only player that they had the Pittsburgh Pirates getting in the top 50 in free agency. And for a guy like Manaea, I'll read this for anybody that can't read it. Manaea recovered from a torn labrum to pitch serviceably in 2020, and then did quite well in 2021. But he took a sizable step back in 2022. The average velocity on his sinker, his most frequently used pitch, was down. Strikeouts decreased while walks shot up, and he gave up barrels more frequently than he ever has in his career. The results were career worst in ERA at 4.96 and home run rate 1.65 home runs per nine. Though his expected ERA of 4.05 suggests that better results are attainable. Joseph Mondi also asked my thoughts on Brad Boxberger. Well, we're going to actually go away from my Twitter feed here and look up some Brad Boxberger stuff and see what's going on here. I believe he is a free agent, as they did. Yes, he did decline his option, making him a free agent. Maybe Brad Boxberger is a guy the Pirates could look at to shore up some stuff in that bullpen that desperately needs it. And I agree 100% on this, but we're going to pull up Brad Boxberger's season. And just based off of it initially, 64 innings, 2.95 ERA, a guy that Pirates fans should be very familiar with from Milwaukee. Of course, he was born in 1988, drafted in 2009, debuted in 2012, right-handed pitcher. I wouldn't be against it. I do think Brad Boxberger is a pretty consistent guy out of the bullpen. He definitely gives me that kind of vibe. I do remember he has had some success against the Pittsburgh Pirates, but we are going to scroll down a little bit here. He's a career 3.44 ERA guy, has played in San Diego, played in Tampa Bay, Arizona, Kansas City, and Miami. Most recently, of course, Milwaukee. You look at that ERA, man. If the Pirates could pick up a guy like Boxberger, I would be all for that. Just because they need guys in the bullpen and in the starting rotation that are going to eat innings. They need guys that are going to give you quality innings while also eating those innings and just making the unit just better. And it's one of those things that I've been consistently looking at in terms of what the Pirates need to attack this offseason with. They need to get guys like that that are consistent. They need to get guys like that that are going to give you those innings that matter down the stretch of games, like the sixth through the ninth inning, where the Pirates struggled mightily down the stretch because the entire, and I mean the entire pitching staff, especially the bullpen, was just absolutely dead tired after such a long season because they were mismanaged all year because they don't have pitching depth. That's why I said the Pirates need to prioritize pitching depth this offseason, and I'm sure that's probably the next step in their plans after the Ji-Man Choi acquisition, and it's something that I think the Pirates should definitely do. Pirates Rants also asked, Carlos Estevez from the Rockies could be a solid under-the-radar option as well. Excelled in Colorado, so I'm sure he'd do even better in Pittsburgh. Carlos Estevez was actually a guy I was going to talk about on my episode that I was going to record this morning. He was a guy that was actually even going to be in the thumbnail because I wanted to talk about him that much. 29 years old. Dude is a unit, by the way, 6'6", 277. Dude is an absolute unit. He's a career 4.59 guy over 300 innings. And as you mentioned, Pirates Rants, yeah, he's had some pretty solid success in Colorado, which usually speaks well for other ballparks as well. Of course, he started his career very shakily, as you can see, from 2016 to 2020. But over the last couple of years, of course, only 61 and 2/3 innings pitched. in 2021 and 57 this year. But the ERA speaks for itself, especially in a ballpark like Colorado. You have to be very, very happy about that. But as I always look at with these kind of guys, look at his strikeout to walk rate: 60 strikeouts to 21 walks last year, 54 strikeouts to 23 walks this year. 211 batting average for opponents was a very, very good number for him with a 1.18 whip. I really enjoyed that. He does struggle, of course, giving up the home run ball, but as you mentioned, he did play in Colorado a lot. So any Colorado pitcher, you usually have to kind of take that with a grain of salt. But really was more of a closer in 2021, as is indicated by his saves number. More of a setup guy this year: 13 holds, 2 saves. Of course, he had 6 save opportunities, so he blew 4 saves, I believe, which is not something that you really, really, really like. Um, and it's just, he's the kind of guy I also think that the Pirates need to look at. He's not the sexy option. He's not the everybody knows who Carlos Estevez is kind of option, but he's the option that's going to put some much needed depth in that bullpen, solidify that bullpen, or even maybe slide him into a starting role, because you can look and see that his innings are not low: 72, 55, 61, 57. He has over 300 career innings in the major leagues. This is the kind of guy that the Pirates need. They need guys that have been here for a very long time. And I'm not meaning 1 year rentals. I'm talking about guys like Carlos Estevez, who's only 29 years old, sign him to a multi-year deal or something like that, and actually bring a guy in that is going to be a part of this core for a hot minute in the bullpen or in the starting rotation, because these young guys need somebody to look up to. Even David Bednar, for as good as he is, needs a leader in that pitching staff. There is not one right now. For the first half of this year, it was Jose Quintana. He was Mr. Consistency. They need multiple guys like that in the bullpen and the starting rotation. Dan also says, "Hey, Ethan, I've been listening to the podcast since the start of the season and wanted to say thank you for your hard work and dedication through these tough times as a Pirates fan. I try my best." That's all I can say, because I am by far not the best Pirates host of a podcast. Uh, but I am going to tell you guys how I feel about things. And I hope that you guys appreciate that. I really do. And I hope that you guys look at it in a sense of, um, hey, this guy's actually like very, very avid about what he's talking about. And that's how I feel about the Pittsburgh Pirates. I've always been a baseball guy. I played baseball in high school. I always was into baseball from a young age, and I will continue to be into baseball through a young age. And I'm also hoping that I can be here when the Pirates eventually do start kicking things off in this window of contention, as we're on pitchers list. By the way, let's these are the top 35 free agents. I actually don't want that. Um, pitching, sorry. Pitching free agents 2022. But also, guys, if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. They're going to pop up over there. Mark Leslie says this was his first full season watching the Pirates, and you've helped me follow along and understand stuff I've had no idea about, considering nobody knows a thing about baseball here in Scotland. Well, Mark Leslie, glad to hear you're listening from Scotland, my dude. That is absolutely awesome. Thank you. I didn't realize that my reach extended that far, but I'm glad that you got into baseball out there in Scotland. That's really freaking awesome, dude. That is great. Pirates Rant says, piggybacking off of Dan, you've been doing really great work on the podcast. Got to give yourself some credit. Dude, I appreciate it so much. This is why I do it. I do it for you guys. I don't do it for me. I do it for you guys. I do it for the people that listen to this podcast every day, the people that drop questions on Mailbag Wednesday, people who are always talking about me, always like interacting with me on Twitter, that whole deal. It's a really fun thing, man. And that's why I do this. That's why I do this all the time, because it's something that I can have fun with. It's something that you guys help me bring joy to, and it's an escape from all the stuff in the world that we deal with on a daily basis. That's why I do it, man. That's why I do it. I do it for you guys. But hopefully, I'll still here when the Pirates do start contending. So we're on 2023's free agent list, of course. You see a lot of these guys at their market values way too high for the Pittsburgh Pirates. But we're going to bring in pitchers here. We're going to update this. This is Spot Track, by the way, you, Mark, if you were wondering more on anything about that. It's a great website to see who free agents are, their market values, if they're on a player option, a club option, or a mutual option. It's a wonderful website. Dan asked, thoughts on coming back or just stick with all the young talent coming? I was going to touch on this in an episode pretty soon. Anytime, and I'll drink another glass of water because I don't know what's going on with my throat today, guys. Anytime that Andrew McCutchen is a free agent, I understand, and even me, he was my favorite player in the early 2000s in baseball, period. I get the appeal to want to bring Andrew McCutchen back. I do. And these are the free agents. If you guys want to take a look at it, I'll scroll down a little bit. These are just pitchers. So I'll scroll down a little bit so you guys can get an idea of where the Pirates might be thinking in terms of their mark values. You're going to be more in this range, I think. Those are just some names there. But when we talk about Andrew McCutchen, and I'm going to pull stats from this past season, the dude is beloved in Pittsburgh by me, by you guys, I'm sure. I mean, he gave Pirates fans, or helped give Pirates fans, a reason to be happy about Pirates baseball for the first time since the 90s, from 2013 to 2015, when they went on those really fun runs as a young team. But you look at his 2022 season, for instance, 17 home runs, 69 RBIs, 237 average, 316 on base percentage, 700 OPS. Is it something that you would want? Again, as a Pirates fan, is that really something that you would really want? 237. I mean, the home runs are nice. I will say that. But I do think that they're going to stick with the young talent coming up in the outfield. Of course, we had the question about Will Myers earlier. I do think that he's just I I don't know. I think at this point in Andrew McCutchen's career, he would probably look more forward to going to a contender. I mean, we've seen him on the Yankees, the Brewers, the Phillies. We've seen him all over the place. I wouldn't rule it out. I never rule it out because we know that Andrew McCutchen loves the city of Pittsburgh. I mean, he freaking named his kid Steel, for Christ's sake. I just don't know how Pirates fans would feel about Andrew McCutchen being and bearing in the fact that he's just not as good of a player as he once was. You know what I mean? He just wasn't or isn't. And he would be nice as a stopgap, but do you really want him to be a stopgap? I think I talked about this last offseason as well, where I brought up the idea that how would Pirates fans feel if Andrew McCutchen tore it up in the first half of a season and then they traded him to a contender again? Kind of feel sour, wouldn't it? It wouldn't feel great. How's the weather there in Savannah right now, Ethan? Says Dave White. It has been raining all day and it is windy, and I think branches are flying all over the place because I hear stuff outside, so I'm sure that's probably what that is. But I have Simply Safe, so even if it is, I'll be fine. If the Mania deal doesn't happen, I would love to sign Corey Kluber, Matt Boyd, or Wade Miley to fill in as a veteran starter. We don't need another Trevor Cahill. I agree. We do not need another Trevor Cahill. Corey Kluber would be an interesting option. Always been one of my more favorite pitchers in Major League Baseball. Also one of my favorite pitchers in MLB The Show. Matthew Boyd, I think, would be a very good option. I'm actually going to pull up some stuff from Matthew Boyd. Left-handed pitcher from, I believe, the Detroit Tigers. I've always been pretty fond of his stuff. I remember at one point he was kind of a top guy in the Tigers system. But I know he was a Blue Jays draft pick, so I don't exactly remember. But I do remember like a lot of hype being centered around Matthew Boyd a while ago. He's now in Seattle, so that shows how much I know. He is a distant relative to Bob Feller. Did not know that. But he had a 1.35 ERA last year. He only had 13 and a half innings pitched. 4.90 ERA guy over his entire career. I do remember him mostly being in Detroit, but of course he was in Seattle for a short time this year. And I wouldn't mind him, but who knows? Dan, going back to the Andrew McCutchen stuff, says Kutch is someone that gives a veteran role to this team. I understand that he isn't the best, and I kind of agree that I think it would be a bad move to get him back, but he would fill the seats because when I go to a game at Kutch is in town, seats are getting filled. I do agree there. If you're the type that wants to see PNC Park filled up over the summertime on those hot summer days or on days where they're not doing promotions, yeah, I fully agree. I mean, if Andrew McCutchen came back, I would obviously be talking about it on this podcast. It'd be the biggest story in Pittsburgh Pirates baseball for a month. It would be, I mean, even at opening day, it would still be a big story. I wouldn't mind him coming back in a sense of, I'm going to try to word this correctly. You know that you have Jack Sawinski, Kanan Smith and Jigba, Cal Mitchell, Ji-Man Choi, possibly even O'Neal Cruz, Ryan Velade now, who was picked up from Colorado, Connor Scott, Matt Gorski, and Matt Frazier are all going to be coming in soon. I could see Andrew McCutchen filling that right field void, at least for the beginning of the year, and then kind of taking a backseat as a potential DH option. That's something that I could see if the Pirates wanted to explore it. And if he wanted to explore it, that's something that I could see the Pirates doing. But I'd say like there's like a 30% chance that happens out of 100%. I mean, because I just really feel like he wants to contend. And I don't think the Pirates are going to contend in 2023 unless they do a lot of crazy stuff. And there's a chance that they do some crazy stuff, but who really knows here in terms of what the Pirates are going to be doing. By the way, I usually use MLB.com for all of my stats just because of the fact that it's very clean and it looks really good. But we're going to talk about Corey Kluber as well, who's a 36-year-old now. Pitched in Tampa Bay, career 3.31 guy. There's a lot of noises going on outside right now with this wind, guys. Might have to check some stuff out. No, I'm kidding. But we're going to bring him up here. Of course, longtime Cleveland Guardian, Texas Ranger, New York Yankee last year, Tampa Bay Ray this year. Those are some stats on Corey Kluber. Pirates Rant says sign Kutch to a one-day contract. Seats will be packed. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just sign him to a one-day and this entire city would go nuts. So going back, by the way, to questions from you guys, who is one player, if you could choose the Pirates to take, within reason, by the way, one player that is a free agent that you guys would like the Pirates to pick up? Personally, Sean Manaea is on that list for me. I like Sean Manaea a lot. And it can be through trade too, like Pablo Lopez, I know has been talked about a little bit. Any of the Cleveland Guardians pitchers that were on the block outside of Shane Bieber, like Aaron Savale and Zach Plesac. Those are two guys that I also wouldn't mind the Pirates possibly taking a look at. But I want to know what you guys think. I've heard Will Myers, I've heard Manaea, I've heard Kluber, Boyd, Wade Miley. I've heard from you guys, obviously, in the comments section. Andrew McCutchen, of course. Got 8 viewers in here, guys. You guys are killing it. Sorry, I'm just texting in our big MLB group chat that I have to see what's going on here. Still got some stuff. Of course, Dave not overwhelmed by the move. If we got John Gilger on Twitter says if we got 2019 Choi, that is fine. The rest is block. Can't hit for explicitive. Will fit in. Best is a 19 homer season with 300 at bats or so. I agree with that. I can agree with that in a sense. Of course, you know, it's a stopgap. Random question, but who do I think will sign Justin Turner? I definitely think Justin Turner is going back to the Dodgers. I think he just feels like a Dodger for life kind of guy now. I feel like he'll go back. And if he doesn't, I'd be very surprised. Also to add, by the way, before I read your question, Pirates Rant, with Jason DeLay being removed from the 40-man roster, Tyler Heineman and Ali Sanchez are the only 2 catchers on the 40-man roster. Endy Rodriguez will likely join them soon. Is it Endy season? Do we just throw him in there at the beginning of 2023? I'd be kind of cool with that, honestly. I think it'd be really fun. Like you mentioned earlier, Minaya is my top starting pitching option, but Brandon Drury is a pretty solid utility player who broke out with the Reds and Padres, 28 home runs. I would love Brandon Drury. Give me Brandon Drury give me a Brandon Drury and Ji-Man Choi platoon at first base and the other DH when the other one's not playing first base. I would lose it. That'd be great. But what Justice De Los Santos just said, of course, one of the wonderful people who covers the Pirates over at MLB.com. Make sure you go give him a follow on Twitter. Tyler Heineman and Ali Sanchez ain't going to cut it. Now, I know Roberto Perez is a guy that I continuously keep hearing on he's going to be back. Does he even cut it? I mean, I will say a Roberto Perez, Tyler Heineman, Ali Sanchez catching duo or group is not bad. Bring up Henry Davis after manipulating time, of course. Of course, Dan. That's how they do things in the bag. Yeah, it might be in Savannah. It might not have grew up in Pittsburgh, but I still know a little bit about that. Guys trying to go downtown, Let's go downtown. First down. Let's go. Yeah, you see, I got to show my Yinzerisms every once in a while. But the catcher position and the pitcher position, I think, are the two positions now the Pirates need to just laser focus on for the remainder of this offseason. And I mean that wholeheartedly. They have to just make sure that they pay attention to those positions, be it a Corey Kluber, be it a Sean Manaea, be it a Wade Miley, be it whoever. I mean, be it Aaron Savali or Zach Plesac for all I care from Cleveland. Because you cannot, and I cannot stress this enough, you cannot have the back end of your rotation be Zach Thompson, Bryce Wilson, and somebody else. I know Luis Ortiz and Michael Burrows are going to be up next year. I know Quinn Priester has a chance to be up here next year. I know that Tanaj Thomas and Carmen Majinski and Cody Bolton have chances to be up here next year. You cannot hope that those guys are going to be great, though. You have to supplement the back end of this rotation and not kill your arms midway through the year. Tucker Barnhart should be a targeted catcher, 2-year deal. Worst case scenario, we bring back Perez on a 1-year deal. We just need a stopgap until Henry Davis and Andy Rodriguez develop. I agree 100%. But supplementing that position will do wonders for this team. You saw what Jacob Stallings was doing with these young pitchers while he was here. He was awesome. You heard the praises that they gave him while he was here. You heard the praises they even gave Roberto Perez at the beginning of the year before he was injured and sidelined for the entire year. These are young pitchers on the staff. Roansy Contreras, Mitch Keller. JT Brubaker's not that young, but he's still there. He's still this kind of guy that might not be all the way proven yet, but has even been shown interest outside of the Pirates organization as a possible trade piece. It's just something that you kind of have to look at in terms of what the Pirates might do. And they need to supplement the pitching staff. They need to supplement the catcher position, be it Roberto Perez, be it a Tucker Barnhart. They cannot go into the season with Tyler Heineman and Ali Sanchez as their catching options. Cannot happen. It is something that I think that they know can't happen, and they will hopefully fix. Forget all that. Dan says, forget all this. Let's just rebuild. Oh, wait. Yeah, man, 2015 feels like ages ago. One, because it literally is. It's almost a decade. And two, I was still in high school. Crazy stuff. But I would like to see something here with you guys. Just now that we have this Ji-Man Choi move, I wonder if they've done this yet. I know they do this kind of thing. I don't care about that. Fangraphs. There we go. We got a 2023 depth for Fangraphs already. Let's go. I was 10 when the Pirates made the playoffs in 2013. Let's Russell Martin out of retirement for catcher. I'm all for that, honestly. Thank you, everybody who's listening and interacting. By the way, you guys are absolutely freaking awesome. Please. Love it. Excuse me, guys. Of course, you can actually see the transactions that have been made here by the Pittsburgh Pirates on your left. You can also see the free agents tracker. Here's our oh my. This is our projected lineup as of right now with the bench. So we got Cruz, Reynolds, Hayes, Choi, Castro, Sawinski, Andujar, Mitchell, and Heineman. Wow, they don't waste any time on this website. Ali Sanchez, Kevin Newman, Ji-Wan Bay, and Diego Castillo as backups. Here's what I mean, though. Contreras, Keller, Brubaker, Oviedo, Wilson. You cannot go into the season with Johan Oviedo and Bryce Wilson as your 4th and 5th option in your rotation. That is something that just flat out cannot happen. That cannot happen. Please. I am begging you, that cannot happen. Then you look at the bullpen, and it's David Bednar, Robert Stevenson, Will Crowe, Dwayne Underwood Jr., Chase DeYoung, Manny Benuelos, who's your only left-handed pitcher on the roster projected right now, Nick Mears, and Miguel Yajure. I don't know. That seems pretty scary, guys. Not gonna lie to you. So that'll also give you. Yeah, I love Tucupita Marcano in the outfield. By the way, Dan, I love that you brought that up. Wilson is a massive disappointment. Used to be a top prospect. It fell off badly with the Buccos. 100%, dude. I've never been a Bryce Wilson guy. Like, even when they traded Richard Rodriguez for him, I kind of just, it was whatever. Stefan Racio. I hope I pronounced that correctly, buddy. Isn't Blake Cederland supposed to be a big part of our bullpen soon? He got dumped off the 40-man. Yeah, I know. I'm still not surprised by that. Mainly because he has this, I don't know. I'll bring up his stuff here and I'll kind of get more opinions on this. Of course, Gary Morgan, who is usually a regular guest with us, usually gives me some pretty decent opinions. Former 5th-round pick Blake Cederland. He's never really put it all together. I mean, he's a 4.93 ERA guy in the minor leagues. I know they need bullpen help. He's 26. But just because he's not on the 40-man, I don't think he'll get picked up in the Rule 5. I don't think he's good enough to get picked up in the Rule 5. And I wouldn't rule it out that he does play this year in 2023 for them. Because, again, we saw over the last 2 years, and I'm sure you guys have all seen this, and I probably sound like a broken record. This bullpen in the starting rotation absolutely fell apart the last 2 years around the middle of the year. Because they were just drained, be it injury, be it bullpen mismanagement, be it a lot of different things. And for a guy like Blake Cederland to kind of get the axe, it sucks. And you look at his transactions. I mean, he did also go on the 60-day injured list. He outrighted today. Went on the injured list pretty early this year, actually, which kind of. But you're looking at guys like Chase DeYoung. You look at guys like Carmen Majinski, Tanaj Thomas, Quinn Priester, Luis Ortiz, Mike Burrows. It's a lot of arms that the Pirates have that they're going to have to find somewhere to go. And that's where I also let people know, don't discredit a starting pitcher immediately after he struggles as a starting pitcher because he might be good in a smaller sample size as a reliever. Most recently, Will Crowe. I think we could all agree that Will Crowe was pretty good in the bullpen. For the most part. He had his moments. You could see that kind of thing with a guy like Johan Oviedo. You could see that kind of thing with a guy possibly like Luis Ortiz. I would love Luis Ortiz in the bullpen as a setup guy for Bednar. How hard he throws the baseball. Could you imagine they turn Luis Ortiz into like a 2-inning setup guy? I would love it. It'd be amazing. It would just be awesome if they did it. We need a new manager. Shelton is trash. I still think the verdict on Shelton is still way too early. He's made some questionable decisions in his tenure. But look at what he's been given, dude. Pirates rants. I'd love to see what Cody Bolton could do. I also would love to see what Cody Bolton could do. I actually really enjoy some Cody Bolton talk. I'm always into talking about Cody Bolton. Of course, former 6th-round pick. Only 24. Very good career stats. 69 career games. Nice. 3.27 ERA over 247 1/3 innings pitched. Career 115 whip. Had a good year this year. 3.09 ERA over 75 innings. I think he profiles a little bit more as a reliever, but we will see what the Pirates decide to do with him. And again, only 24 years old. He still has plenty of time to prove himself. Stefan says Crow was good until Shelton misused him as a closer and overused him and he fell apart. Yes, of course. I understand. Yeah, I agree with that take 100%. What he is given, sure, but this man takes out hot bats in lineups and makes the lineups basically a week in advance. I will go ahead and tell you this. I don't really think Shelton has all the say on the lineups that are made. I do agree that the lineups are made in advance, and I think that's absolutely moronic. But I don't think it's just him making the lineups. That's what I'll say. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm like a full straight Derek Shelton guy. Like, I am not just, oh, Derek Shelton's going to lead us to the promised land. But I do think that he's definitely the kind of guy that the Pirates need to at least hold on to until they really, really can say, okay, this guy's not going to work. And I think that's where the front office is right now, too. I think they have to be in that same train of thought. They have to be in the train of thought that he's the kind of guy that you have to worry about. He's you don't want it to have a very good team with a shitty manager. You don't. Excuse my language. You don't want to have a good team with a crap manager. Is it something that potentially happens? Yeah. But I don't think the Pirates will let it happen. No way he is our manager when we are good. I just still think it's too early. Oh yeah, Clint Hurdle. Oh my God, bring Clint Hurdle back right now. If it was Clint Hurdle or Derek Shelton on a stage, and I had to pick one to outwin the other in 2023, I think Clint Hurdle would do it. Yeah, let's go get Dusty Baker, says Dan. I'd love it. Dusty gets his Dusty Baker gets his World Series and it says, you know what? Let me go manage the Pirates real quick. That'd actually be pretty fun, wouldn't it? That would be some really fun stuff. I'm liking where your guys' heads are. Excuse me again, guys. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in here on the Locked On Pirates podcast live free agency show. Of course, we've talked about Ji-Man Choi being picked up from the Tampa Bay Rays for minor league pitcher Jack Hartman. We talked about acquiring Ryan Velade via waiver claim from the Colorado Rockies. We've talked about the 40-man roster moves that were made for the Pittsburgh Pirates, reinstating guys off of the IL. We talked about some free agents that we would like the Pirates to go look at. We would like, we've done a lot, and you're keeping the conversation rolling, and I'm going to keep it rolling until you guys stop. Neil Walker for manager 2024, go for it. Why not? Pull the Colts card and just bring back a guy who was beloved in the city and on the team. Can we just talk about that for 1 second? Jeff Saturday is about to coach an NFL game this Sunday. It's nuts. Like I would love to see like Neil Walker be the manager of the Pirates. It would just scream audacity. It would just scream like I don't even know, dude. It would be great. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that would be absolutely phenomenal to cover for an entire year. Just to see what kind of decisions he makes and stuff like that. I would be all for it. What's up, Jason? Jason from Locked on A's. What's Jason Kendall up to? Catchers make good managers. LOL. I don't know actually what Jason Kendall is up to. Let's Google search Jason Kendall. We're in the point of the free agency live show where we're Googling Jason Kendall. Of course, former Pittsburgh Pirate, former Oakland Athletic, Chicago Cub, Milwaukee Bird, Kansas City Royal. You know the whole deal. Oh, yeah, that happened earlier. Yes, I forgot about this. This happened earlier the year. He rejoined the Pirates as a minor league consultant. So that's what he's up to, Jason. He's back in the Bird. What's going to happen first? This was talked about in the podcast. Steelers winning a playoff game or Pirates making a playoff berth? I would say the Steelers winning a playoff game. I just think this is a down year for the Steelers, and then with the draft pick they have, they're going to have a 49ers this season, like when the 49ers made the Super Bowl in 2019, going into 2020. I think that's the kind of thing that's going to happen. I think they'll make the playoffs next year. If we're on the topic of catchers being good managers, let's give Cervelli a call. I would not mind this wonderful Italian paisan Francisco Cervelli coming back. Could you imagine, guys? I love that we've went off the rails here. Could you imagine if this wonderful human being, Francisco Cervelli, who's above my head right now, was the look? Let's just have Francisco Cervelli be the manager, Neil Walker be the hitting coach. Trying to think of who would even be the pitching coach. AJ Burnett. Yeah, bring AJ Burnett back to be the pitching coach. And bench coach Don Kelly. There you go. 2023 Pirates coaching staff. Francisco Cervelli is the manager. Neil Walker is the hitting coach. AJ Burnett is the pitching coach, and Donnie Kelly is the bench coach. Guys, take the Twitter and tag me in this so we can get this rolling. Like, let's actually like make this a thing. Let's make this a thing. Dude, oh my god. AJ Burnett, man. What a beast. I wish AJ Burnett was like still young enough to come back and pitch. Dude, you guys are making my night right now. Bring back Batman. Look at it. Look at this. Could you imagine that man telling these young pitchers what to do? Could you imagine AJ Burnett coaching up Roansy Contreras? Dude, oh my god. Look at it. AJ, Neil, Francisco, and Francisco Liriano, yes. Dude, Francisco Liriano is single-handedly responsible for my favorite Pirates moment of all time, which was the 2013 wildcard game against the Cincinnati Reds. Burnett just saying, shut up and pitch. Dude, what the heck? You guys are great, man. You guys are awesome. Oh, my God. Oh, man. Dude, how did we even get on this topic? Oh, yeah, Jason. Jason, where'd you go? I'm about to bring you on this podcast now. That way we can wallow in our sadness together as Athletics and Pirates fans. Corey Hart for bench coach, I'd be for it. Josh Harrison for bench coach. I know he's still playing, but dude, that would be crazy. Pedro Alvarez is a minor league consultant. All right, guys. Favorite Pirates player from the last 10 years? I'm on this track now. Now we're just doing a Q&A. You guys actually should do a Q&A for me. I love answering these questions. These are great. Oh, my God. Hmm. I am also tweeting this out right now. Easily Francisco Liriano. Jung Ho Gong, what a guy. Yes, sir, dude. Jung Ho Gong was amazing. He was like the funniest thing to cover in the Pirates in that age. Like, he was just amazing. Can't believe I'm tweeting this. Yeah, which is very funny, by the way, that you guys did bring up the stuff about jokingly putting them on the staff and everything. I don't know if you guys are joking or not. I can't tell. But somebody did actually ask me in a YouTube comment to create a like favorite Pirates coaching staff in terms of everything, like in terms of all time, like who I would want. Well, if we talked a long time ago, Garrett Jones and Jose Tabado, yeah, of course. I mean, I'll go ahead and say Jason Bay was the reason I got into baseball in the first place. So, You can thank Jason Bay for me doing this podcast. Neil Walker was always a favorite of mine. I do actually have my Jones. I remember jump on it. I do actually have my Josh Harrison jersey over there next to my Santonio Holmes jersey. I kind of have like a throwback area of my wall that I hang stuff up on because you guys see behind me, I have the Georgia windbreaker, the Pirates logo. I have all my pop figures over here. Then I have the Pirates Jolly Roger right there. Jesus. Jordy. Stefan, that's where you get a weird way with me. Also, some other news. Robert Suarez and the Padres are in agreement on a 5-year deal worth $46 million. The contract includes an opt-out after 3 years. So some more free agency news, not regarding the Pirates. Stefan, Jordy Mercer was actually one of my most hated Pirates players of all time. Just throw that out there. No rhyme or reason behind it. I just didn't like him. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I just was never a Jordy Mercer guy. Nice to hear Robert Suarez got a payday. Gotta love that. Of course, also, by the way, guys, make sure you check out my episode from yesterday where I talked about the Pirates reportedly receiving interest on Brian Reynolds again, Matt Gorski possibly being a future first base option for the Pirates, how busy the Pirates would be this offseason, and is it put up or shut up time? Also, here's that tweet, by the way. Guys, like away. Go ahead and have fun with that. Joel Hanrahan. Oh my God, Charlie Morton. Jesus, dude, it's so crazy when I get reminded of players that were on the Pittsburgh Pirates that were just they were either just awesome or like terrible. There was no in between. Like Garrett Cole, Pittsburgh Pirates. Garrett Cole was an enigma and a fabric of my imagination. I'm convinced. Jack Wilson. That's another good one. Of course, I saw somebody say Jose Tabata. I saw Gregory Polanco. Loved Pedro Alvarez. That's my Aunt Heather's favorite player from the last 10 years. She loves her some Pedro Alvarez. Now, Jeff Locke. Oh, yeah. Dude, you guys remember the Tony Watson, Jared Hughes, and Mark Melanson bullpen? The Shark Melanson. Dude, that bullpen was so fun. Jared Hughes, Tony Watson, and Mark Melanson, dude. Jeff Locke goes 5-6 innings. Next thing you know, Mark Melanson or Jared Hughes comes in. Jason Grilly, there it is. There it is. Juan Nicasio, Archimedes Caminero. Dude, you guys are like, I'm going to have to actually do a live show now, and I'm sure you guys would love this, where we do random Pirates trivia from like the last like 20 years. Like, does anybody remember when Marlon Byrd like was on the Pirates for that 2013 playoff run, and he hit his only postseason home run, I believe? Red Hamas Liz. Dude, you guys are great. I'm just gonna sit here and watch. We're also hitting the 1 hour mark, by the way, on this. At this point, are we naming Pirates players who all got traded to teams and did good? Justin Morneau. Oh my Christ. Oh Lord. I forgot about this. Oh my Lord. Yes. Dude. Justin frickin' Morneau. Look at him. Dude. Oh, wait. You guys can't even see it. Oh my. Gorkys Hernandez. Oh my God. All right. Wait. Let's have fun. So the first year that I really started watching Pittsburgh Pirates baseball was 2004. I was about 6 or 7 by that point. I've been playing baseball for 2 years. Clint Barnes. Oh my God. So we're gonna go baseball almanac here for a second. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Jack Wilson. Look at this quote. It was really good to end the schedule at PNC Park on a good note. The 2004 Pirates roster. Oh my God. Let's just marvel in this. Oh my God. Jason Kendall, Randall Simons, Chris Stein, Ty Wigginton, AJ Davis. You guys remember Raul Mondesi? Oh my Lord. Dude, what a time. Brandon Compton, Van Mazzario. Jesus. But yeah, 2004 was the first year that I started watching the Pirates religiously. Sat down with my grandfather almost every day and watched this team. 72 and 89, by the way. So it actually wasn't like a crappy year to watch this team. They weren't actually that bad. Dave Littlefield, first being general manager, preached the scouting director. Oh my God. Um, the Pythagorean win-loss record was 74 and 89. Then you remember Lloyd McClendon, of course. We all remember Lloyd. What was the starting line of this team? Jason Kendall, Daryl Ward, Jose Castillo, Jack Wilson, Ty Wigginton, Jason Bay, Tiki Redmond, and Craig Wilson with Rob Cowick. Look at this team. Let's go down memory lane, everybody. At this point, I think we'd all be happy winning 72 games. Of course. Of course we would be. 70 wins this year would have been perfect. Because I'm fully convinced that this team would have won 70 games this year. That would have been crazy. I'm also going to go back off of this real quick because this is really laggy and you guys probably don't like it. StatMuse is usually a lot better with this kind of stuff. Who knows? Oh yeah, see, look at this. All right, wait a second. You guys really want to go back in time. '92 Pittsburgh Pirates, dude. Look at this team. Look at this freaking team. This man. Sounds good, Dan. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it. All right, guys. We've been live for an hour. Let's go ahead and wrap up with any questions, concerns about the Pittsburgh Pirates, what you think the rest of the offseason could look like. Ramble those off while I'm here as we wrap up today. Again, today's episode brought to you by Simply Safe. No place like Simply Safe. You guys have been absolutely awesome, by the way. I did not expect you guys to be this interactive. I also expected only to do this for 30 minutes. But yeah, any last questions, guys? Go ahead and ramble them off. We're going to actually take this off too. My big face is going to come back into frame. Of course, also make sure you follow me on Twitter at MVP_Ethan or at Locked On Pirates. I know Twitter's a crazy place right now. Come on, guys. Don't be shy. Also, I know the Thursday night football game is up soon as well, so make sure you also go check out Bet Online, wonderful sponsor here, the Locked On Podcast Network. Scrolling through Twitter right now. We do have comments on the Ji-Man Choi move right now. Wow. Kind of a quiet start to free agency overall, though, guys. Don't you think? Really, it's only been the Ji-Man Choi and the Robert Suarez news. Alrighty. Well, if there are no more questions, guys, thank you for tuning in today. to the Locked On Pirates podcast. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are absolutely awesome. My name is Ethan Smith of the Locked On Pirates podcast. Again, make sure you go follow at Locked On Pirates or at MVP_Ethan on Twitter. I am active all the time, so make sure you do that. And guys, you were awesome. I will see you on the flip side, everybody.